Hello everyone and welcome to Brian Outdoors. Today we are going to be making flu-flus. I'm using a full-length feather from a company called True Flight, and these feathers make a beautiful spiral style flu-flu, and I'd like to show you how to do that. And just to go over a couple of things that you'll need when you're starting. First thing you're going to need is your feathers. So you can pick a couple of colors that you like as a combination. Usually a contrasting color works really well. And the first thing I like to do is take a little bit off each end of this feather with a pair of scissors, so you can snip, usually between 1/4 of an inch to an inch, depending on how long you want the feather to be. But also, I do find at the ends there is a little bit of a rough area that's hard for the glue to stick. So the other thing you're going to need is some contact cement, some general stuff that you can just buy at any hardware store, as well as some acetone, and you're also going to need some sandpaper as well, just to roughen up the shaft. Prepare it by stripping off your feathers or your vanes, and give it a light sanding. Scrape off or get off any of the glue that's on there, and you can use the acetone for doing that as well. So once I've done that, strip those off. Just give this a quite little sanding just to roughen up the edges, and just get a little bit of the acetone on it. And then just give your arrow a good rub down just to get off any of the fibers and clean off any grease, and that will of course help the glue stick to that as well. Okay, so once you get that prepared, take your glue. I also like to use a sponge style brush, and the starting point is about an inch and a half from your knock down, and approximately from that point down about 5 inches. So I kind of have this marked off where I like to start and finish. So I take the glue. Generally, like to put down some newspaper before you start this project as well. Get a good coating of your glue on there. Be pretty generous with it because you want to make sure that you get a good contact with your feather, so your feathers will stick on the first go around. Okay, and that's pretty good right about there. Maybe a little bit more on this bottom section here. The feathers are going to vary in length, so you don't want to be too precise. Now here, I have a shaft that's already been prepared, and I've put some contact cement on it as well as on the feathers, and that's the other thing as well. So you put that aside. Take the feathers, prepare those as well by putting some glue on the stems, again doing it over the container. You're going to have to let these sit aside for a little while. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes in most cases to have them dry enough that they will make contact. And the nice thing about it is you do have time to work with it, because it does take a little while for it to be set up. Alright. So when you put your feathers aside, just kind of lay them on an angle like this so they do not stick. So I have a shaft that's already been done, as well as a couple of feathers. So what I'll do is, starting with the thickest end, you want to start with the fattest part of the feather. You'll notice on the other end it's thin, and then you have a thick end. Start at the thick end at the very front of the arrow. Okay, you want to make sure that, because that is the flattest point, and also when the feather is shot off the bow, it's going to lay down properly. It's not going to be going against the grain. The other thing you want to do now is take your feather and start it by attaching it to the shaft on about a 45-degree angle, just like so. Okay, and then slowly start to wrap it, leaving yourself approximately, because you're going to be putting two feathers, approximately 1/2 inch between. Okay, so now we're going forward, spinning the shaft at the same time. Your feathers are going to stick like this a little bit. In fact, sometimes it's just easier to open them up prior, so you can just get them kind of spread out a little bit before you start wrapping. Both that will work as well. So now we'll keep continuing to wrap forward. Again, 1/2 inch gaps is pretty much a guideline that I like to use, because that gives enough space for both to come on. Now when you get to the end, you're going to come to the end, there's going to be a bit of the feather left over, sticking out, okay? And that's what you want, because that will be cut off flush, but you do want to have it coming right to the end like that, okay? That's sticking on there pretty good. The main part to worry about, of course, is the front, okay? Right at the very top. Okay, so that's your yellow. Now I'll take the red feather, and I will start it on the inside of the other one. Start it on the inside here. Laying it right down next to the other stem, and just slowly start to work your way up. You'll have to wiggle it through. Sometimes you might have to stop and fix it. Make sure that none of the other fibers are getting trapped underneath. Keep working your way forward. Spinning it. Again, you want the feathers aiming backward to the end. Again, you're going to be sticking it like this, holding on to it for a few seconds. So now we could just spread out these feathers a little bit here. Take those fibers and open them up. So basically what you want to do is make sure that you have both of your stems fairly close together here, because we do have to set this up once we do have them on, so that they will be on the side of the knock. When you knock this on your bow, you want to make sure that these stems will be on the outside, not against the bow. Okay, and you can change that around after. In fact, I'll show you how to do that as well. That looks pretty good. So now the next step here is to take your knife and go to the back end where the glue stops and the feathers stop here, and using your knife, just kind of push down, wiggle back and forth a little bit, and you'll feel a little pop, and that will allow you to remove the feather section at the end. Okay, and you do the same for both of those. Same thing on this side. Okay, there we have it, guys. That's how you make your flu-flus. So there's a nice tapered flu-flu. The longer you let that cure, the better. In fact, if you give that a good 24 hours, that will be perfect to be shooting by the next day. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out our website at www.BrianOutdoors.com for more great tips and videos. Tight lines and straight shooting. Bye for now.